Hello and welcome to another Tech Articles. In today's article I want to talk about Tech Articles and taking it static, and I'm going to flip this video on its head a little bit. So that part of this is going to be running a cron, and I just want to show you what I'm going to do first, run the cron, and then I'll talk about some of the theory behind this. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to WordPress. I'm going to reload this backend. And what I've developed is a plugin to fix some of the issues that I'm going to discuss in a minute. But I wanted to set it off and trigger it so that you can understand what's going on. But you also don't have to wait 5 minutes for me to watch a cron, and I don't have to keep pausing the video. So I've added a new submenu to Simply Static here called Export and Notify. And what this does is it allows me to set some items here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable the debug log. This second interval here is the time it takes after a post is published to allow you to finish doing the edits on your site. Now, by default, it's 300 seconds, about 5 minutes. That works well for me. I can make it shorter and I can make it longer. In this case, I'm actually going to make it shorter. I'm going to make it 2 minutes. So these are the post types that will be affected by this trigger. And I've got it on posts, page, tools, and bricks templates. And when it comes to triggering it, I will use a bricks template as it's the most obscure. This is just a custom post type, and these are just normal posts and pages. And the other thing it does, as well as automatically triggering exports for Simply Static, is it sends a Discord message, which I will show you in my private Discord server. I have a notification area now to tell me about Simply Static exports from this site so that I know they're done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to head back over to the site and I'm going to edit a bricks template, and then once this is in motion I will talk you through some of the pain points and why I created this particular plugin. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to templates, and then I'm going to pick one, this one here, and I'm just going to edit it. And while this is editing, what will happen here is I will make an edit and the plugin will use the trigger from the save to decide if it's going to run an export. So the reason that I've done that is because when you save a post, a action hook called WP after insert post triggers, and then I do a couple of checks to check if it's an autosave or a revision, because we don't want to automatically generate because of autosaves or revisions. And then I've got a check to check if it's one of those post types, and if it is, it will then run a or call an instance of Simply Static to do a site export. So the reason we've got to edit one of these templates or one of these post types is because of that, and behind the scenes that's what's going to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this to a H1 to a H2, and I'm going to push save, and that should be enough to trigger the cron event. So I'm just going to refresh my crons over here, and there should be a new one telling me about SS export notify cron. So in about 2 minutes this will run. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to head back to the plugin, and I'm going to show you the logs. So down here will be a debug log now, and you'll see here it's scheduled an export for 2100, but it's actually 10 PM here in the UK because it's based on UTC, and that's the server time. So that's going to run in the background now for me. And the reason I created this plugin was mainly because one of the pain points I've had since I converted the site to static, other than a couple of issues that I was helped with by Patrick with regards to Presto Player and a few other bits and pieces, the two main pain points I had was knowing when the site had been exported, and also scheduled posts, which can't be done on a static site. I just couldn't do it. There are triggers in or action hooks that you can hook into in Simply Static, but they don't really work for my use case of where I have to regenerate all of the categories and subcategories of the site. So I built this plugin, which I do plan on releasing at some point once I've finished playing with it and getting it exactly where I want. But for now it's working exactly as I need to, and it's fixed one of my biggest issues. So as I said, when that update happens, it checks that action hook, checks it's not an autosave or a revision, and then it checks that it is a published post, not a draft, not a scheduled, and then if it's in my post types, it will then call out a new instance of Simply Static plugin and then run a static export. And that's all good. And then what it does after that is it will then send a Discord notification to me to tell me that that export has taken place. Now, as I said, there is a trigger in Simply Statics I could have used, but it's not great at exporting category archives with it. But there is no native Discord notification either, and I really wanted to know that when I scheduled a post, that I could look at my phone at some time round when it was meant to be scheduled and see that it had scheduled without having to manually check the website. And if I wanted to check how it looked on an export, I can just click it and go to it. Pretty lazy, but that's how I like to do things. And you'll notice here I've got notifications for theme updates and plugin updates from main WP, and even when certain themes and plugins automatically update, they update automatically FTP up to my test server so that I can do testing on them to make sure that there's nothing wrong there, and I get notifications for all of that. Same as notifications from Server Avatar and Grid Pane. So at some point in the next minute or so, I would expect to probably get a notification here. But what I'm going to do now is reload the logs and see if we've started our export, which we haven't yet. So my Grid Pane cron hasn't hit the site yet. I think it's on about a 3-minute timer for the Grid Pane cron, and there is a level of fuzziness in that as well, so it doesn't hit dead on 3 minutes every time. So from a WordPress perspective, I've got really, really reliable scheduled posts, but I struggled to find a way to natively get them from WordPress into Bunny via Simply Static. And it was the last of my pain points for the static conversion. The other pain point I had was forms and spam in web forms. But I fixed that by embedding a form, not actually a WordPress form, into the site. It's a very low used form anyway, so it kind of made sense. So this will only work on the post types that I've selected. All the rest are ignored. If it's not in there, it won't be done. So the destination domain tells you when the Discord comes through. I'll talk you through each of these. This is a Discord notification. This is just a link to the Simply Static logo, so I know it's come from Simply Static. It will also go into the Simply Static Discord here, so I know it's for Simply Static, but the logo makes it easily recognizable, and I like to make them look nice. The main WP ones come with a main WP logo, for example. But it was a pain point that I had, and I was really struggling with how to do these scheduled exports. And I thought, given that I was able to find in the code of Simply Static some hooks to tell me when, for example, the export had happened. There was one added in a particular, I don't know if I've got a link to it in here, in a particular pull request. Yeah, there's one here. So there's an SS complete action hook via this pull request and this commit in Simply Static, and I was able to get them to send my Discord notification, because I know when that runs that the site has been exported and that it is now on Bunny, and with the notification I get, that will tell me that I'll be able to just run the site and view it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check this log, and you can see here it is now started to run. So it's running static export. The export has started. So I must have just missed a cron window when it actually was scheduled. And that'll take about 2-3 minutes to actually export the site. Now, the debug is a switch, so it turns it on and off, but it also deletes the log, because I've allowed the logs to be stored in a web accessible part of the site so that I can see them just in the browser like I am here, and I will get those notifications. And that's about it for the plugin, really. We now need just to wait for it to finish. I was hoping to beat it before it finished so that you didn't have to wait around too long, but it can't be far from being done. So let's go and quickly check Simply Static and see how far we are. So we're still exporting pages. So I am going to pause this video just for a second, and I will come back to you. Oh, and welcome back. So this has now exported. As I said, it took about 3.5 minutes. which isn't really very long, and I should now have a Discord notification. I did have a beep, so I think I do, and I do. So this tells me that it's completely exported to tech articles, and it tells me export finished from the site that it came from. And the reason I designed it like this is because I would like to be able to A, know which site has generated it, because some of my static sites are not clear. Some of them are on a generic domain rather than a subdomain. And also, when a site exports, I want to quickly be able to click the link and view the site and check that the update has happened just by refreshing the site. And I can do that with how it works. So that's the idea behind the plugin. And as I said earlier, that I would come back and explain this to you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull Discord out like so and put it over this side. And then I'm going to select this one. And we're going to go back to this site and do this, and I will talk you through how this works. So this destination domain is what appears here with the export complete and the URL for this. This is your standard Discord webhook. This is the logo that appears here. So if you wanted it to be the site it came from, you could do that. It's all customizable. Now in the plugin's case, it defaults to where it's installed in the plugin. But in my case, this site is behind basic auth. So I can't do that because it can't be reached. So what I've done is I've uploaded it directly to tech articles and linked to that. And this is the message template that comes out. So in our case here, export complete, tech articles. So this is the site URL that will go in here, and that's the message you'll get. This is hard coded into the plugin to know where it's come from. And this is just the log file location, and the log file automatically deletes itself. If you disable login and push save changes, you'll notice the view debug log will disappear. And if I reload the log file, it no longer exists. And that's to make it nice and easy to clean up. And that's really the plugin in a nutshell. And this fixes a particular pain point for me and in how I was operating tech articles when it was a WordPress site, and has allowed me to fix that issue and continue to schedule posts as I need to. And as I say, I do plan on releasing this. I won't keep this as a internal only plugin. My intention will be to release it, and it is probably ready to be released. I'm just currently using it to test my updater class because I had to make some changes because of some changes in 6.8 that were brought to my attention the other day, and it doesn't appear to have been affected, but just in case, I've added a couple of extra filters to make sure that updates happen. And I'm just using it to test that at the minute because is there, so it makes sense to use it to test across multiple sites. No, I just wanted to create a video to explain some of the changes. Hopefully tech articles is now loading faster for everybody. I can do whatever I like on the site now behind the scenes and only push those updates to you rather than having to use a staging site and transferring it back. And the bunny CDNs should make it faster for US and Asian viewers as well. So thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.